The structure and properties of fentanyl. Fentanyl is a potent and rapid-acting opioid with analgesic and anesthetic properties. An opioid is a term used to classify a group of pain-relieving drugs. Opioids work by interacting with opioid receptors in your cells, which causes the release of signals that prevent the sensation of pain. Fentanyl was developed for its high potency and to be used in medical procedures and as a pain reliever. When fentanyl enters the bloodstream, it uses a dipole-dipole bond and a hydrogen bond to bond to the protein in the blood that will transport it throughout the body. Fentanyl works by selectively binding to and activating the mu receptor in the central nervous system, which activates a G protein complex. This results in a reduction of intracellular calcium, which causes reduced neuron function, which is a sensation of pain relief. Fentanyl is a solid at room temperature, in the form of crystals or crystalline powder. The chemical formula is C22H28N2O, and the molar mass is 336.464 grams per mole. Here's a line structure depiction of fentanyl and its functional groups: aromatics, tertiary amide, and tertiary amine. Let's now look at some of the bonds and charges of fentanyl. Around elements with lone pairs like nitrogen, there are the most negative formal charges, with no positive formal charges anywhere. All carbons are surrounded by hydrogens, making the carbon rings nonpolar. Due to the differences in electronegativity, the bonds between oxygen and carbon are the strongest. Carbon-to-carbon bonds, which have the same electronegativity, is the second weakest bond. Carbon and hydrogen have the weakest bonds. The length of the bond decreases with increasing atom-to-atom interaction. This indicates that the bonds between oxygen and carbon, as well as between nitrogen and carbon, are the shortest. Since there is less interaction between atoms, they are longer. As a result of having the weakest bonds, the carbon-to-hydrogen bonds is the longest. With all this considered, fentanyl has no net dipole, as the molecule is nonpolar. Using the valence bond theory, the hybridization of fentanyl is shown here, with sp3 and sp2 orbitals, and the location of pi bonds, with other bonds being sigma. Please note that this just shows where orbitals and bonds would be located, but is not an actual representation using valence bond theory. Isomers of fentanyl, specifically structural isomers, are butyrylphenol and isobutylphenol, shown here, with the main differences being these groups highlighted in red. Future implications of fentanyl. Fentanyl is a potent drug. When used for medical procedures and the treatment of pain, fentanyl is relatively safe. However, it is often misused and was one of the leading causes of overdoses. To prevent this, modifications can be made to the structure to make it less potent. For example, the replacement of nitrogen with carbon, or the replacement of a benzene ring with another aromatic or non-aromatic group. This would change how fentanyl interacts with the body and would change its uses in medicine. Thank you for watching.